Adam, Chris, and Tim, get ready. Episode 17 of the Reddit Golf Swing Analysis is just for you. Good morning, friends and guests of the Lang Golf Academy. Welcome to the Reddit Golf Swing Analysis series. In this series, we take submissions from Redditors who send me their down the line face on of their golf swing, so I can just help them understand the cause and effect of some of their motions. Keep in mind, I never see these videos beforehand. I just put them up there, and I believe that's the best way to do this, just to see it blindly, and I'll do my best with what information I'm given. So having said that, if you like this, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps promote and grow the channel. And then also, if you know anybody that wishes to submit, we just take any videos. You don't have to follow Reddit or anything like that. So if you know anybody, let them know. With that being said, let's get down to business. We first have on the screen Chris. Chris said, happy to answer any questions. Never taking golf lessons, just a lot of trial and error, with a smiley face. So I'm well aware of trial and errors. I did that for many years myself. Let's just take a look at the swing off the bat. All right, a lot of motion here, Chris. Again, that forward lean could be causing some issues here. And usually when I see this forward press, I see two things that happen. I usually see a breakdown at impact to try and compensate for that, or you really tilt under and try and delay that release. For you, it looks like it's a little bit of a breakdown as you come into that golf ball. Your weight shifting is being affected as well. So it'd be interesting to see from the down the line to see if you do lose your posture. But from here, definitely looks like there could be a loss of posture as you hit the golf ball. But let me try and help explain what I'm discussing here. So your ball position, if we draw a line straight up through to your head, your ball position is, it's correct for the club that you have in you. However, with this forward press, you definitely have a strong grip too. So a strong grip forward press is very, Dustin Johnson-like. If you take a look at Dustin Johnson's swing, he kind of, really tilts under and turns a lot to keep those hands pressing. He de-lofts the club, and he just releases pretty later on in his follow-through. So that's one option. You can do that. Now, if you're not physically capable of doing that, which most people are not, they have to kind of release their hands sooner and kind of lose posture to make sure those hands catch up with the original position. But let's just take a look at your forward press. Now, your forward press, your club is kind of going off into your lead shoulder, even ahead of your lead shoulder. Now, let me delete this line because that's where your spine angle should be for this ball position. But because you have that forward press, you kind of have to tilt a little bit more under. And what you've done is you've now changed your spine angle to be there. So that's basically where your spine angle is set up to hit this ball. It's almost like a driver spine angle. Now you have this big crisscross here that you have to time your hands to either have really good timing to catch this correctly, or you're going to start manipulating a few things. And if you take a look at your head position, I think this might help you too in that right brace line to see how much you just turn from that static position. You do a pretty good job of turning. You see there's not a lot of swaying going on. Upper body is trying to stay in that original spine angle. So you can see there's a lot of that upper body lean just because it has to, because you're trying to do a good job of turning around your spine angle. So this is actually a good driver motion with that ball position up off your lead foot where it should be set up. But because now you have a crisscross action here, club face is slightly closed, but that's just your strong grip. Now you're trying to drive over it, and your body's saying, oh, wait a minute, that ball position, there's no way I can hit this golf ball way over here where it should be set up too. So you have to start to kind of readjust yourself. You start losing your weight transfer, and it could be maybe some posture loss. We'll tell on the down the line. But as you come into the golf ball, you can see that right foot is kind of spinning out. Your upper body's kind of stopping. You do a lot of breakdown here, so this right hand is starting to realize my ball position is not there, it's back here, so I really have to activate and try and catch up this motion. So you start losing a lot of this potential energy. Now you're trying to strike that golf ball, but your setup is set up for here. So you get a little bit of this flip going on. You strike the golf ball, you catch up nicely. You can see that trail leg is kind of collapsing in instead of kind of pushing up to hold your spine angle. Your spine angle is now changed slightly because you've moved into the golf ball to help your hands catch up a little bit. And now you'll see your release is kind of holding on because you can't really release it that hard because of your really strong grip. and that's why you have this kind of a borderline breakdown. You know, you can see your arms are kind of pulling back in to hold off that release. And then you try your best just to turn through. So the core of your motion is there. I mean, you do a pretty good job of trying to move in your in your spine angle, but setup is just a little bit awkward. You've set up for a driver, but you put your ball position in an iron position, and that's going to create a little bit of confusion for your body. So you do your best that you can with what you're starting with. So my suggestions on this front of the line is definitely look at that ball placement, make sure it's more connected with your body. And by that, let's pull it back and take a look if we can see some adjustments here. So if we clear this out, I mean, obviously, you know, do this with a grain of salt. I mean, I know you like to tinker, it looks like trial and error, but just try this out. You know, you want to level these shoulders out just a little bit. You want to let your hands kind of just relax more in the center and get those hands to connect through your spine angle. So it looks more like that, and that'll realign a lot of things. You know, your misses might all of a sudden be a different miss, but that's just because of that strong grip. So again, chicken or the egg, we don't know which caused which. We don't know if this starting position caused your motions or your motions cause the starting position. I'm always under the impression that starting position causes motions more so than the other way around. But this is why it's really important just to work with somebody. It doesn't have to be weekly. It can just be once a month, once every couple months, just to make sure that you are on the right track, and these subtle changes really help you. But then again, it really depends on your goals. So let's take a look from the down the line that might help the cause here. All right, Chris, so let's take a look and see if we lose that spine angle. It's a subtle loss. I hope that's a foam ball. Gotta watch out for those shins. All right, so let's just take a look. It's hard to see because we don't have an alignment. I'm guessing for you going for here. Shoulders look okay. You just look a little bit kind of like pushing your upper body open slightly. All right, so let's draw this line here. That's your spine angle line. We'll do your plane lines to see what goes on. Remember, keep in mind that we do have a strong grip and your ball position is off, just so we know. You look very close. You know, your feet are a little bit too far under your torso instead of being under your hips. So, you know, if I draw my toe, it's almost going right through your head. Your heel is going on the front part of your hips. So you'd like these to support your hips more. So just pull your feet back. You know, get that support for your hips that it needs. That's my recommendation for this side, at least. You'll feel like you're probably standing a little taller in your lower body, but it will feel that like that because it's further away. You'll give your arms a little bit more spacing too to kind of tilt under. But let's take a look here. Taking the club back. Keep in mind we have a strong grip. Club face is going well below your plane. Could also be a camera issue, just because it might be a little too close to your body, but definitely below the plane. You get to that top plane line, not really as high as you need to be. So again, this looks like just separation, disconnection. You know, the club's pulling your arms down and lower to, you know, now it's restricting your plane. That's a lot of turn, especially with the arms. So arms are kind of flaring back on you a little bit. Let's see how we get into that posture. Okay, you do a good job here. I would imagine the club head's going to go below that plane though. Club head goes below the plane. You're starting to stand up just a little bit. You see the weighting's a little bit off. And again, that could just be the placement of your feet. Your feet's a little bit too close to the golf ball, so there's not much room to push off of. It just feels like you're keeping your balance. Slight bit of posture loss. You see you standing up a little bit, moving into the golf ball. Again, this could be a camera issue because I know that you do move slightly forward, but you can see how close your arm is to your right side. I mean, it's getting trapped. So you do have to kind of flick it and then hold it. So you try your best to hold on to that release because you don't want that ball to go rope hook left on you. You make it work. I mean, let's just, you know, put it out there. You definitely make this work. I do see a lot of room for improvement just with a couple of setup changes that you can work with. And once those setup changes are there, then you can work with different motions to get you closer to your top plane line, to give you more room to drop it in the slot, to stay more connected. I just see a lot of disconnection happening. My inclination is that disconnection's happening because of the setup. Definitely tilting too much. You're almost looking set up for a driver from the face-on view, and not connected with your core. I hope that helps. If you're confused in any way, just, you know, put a little comment down there to help clarify anything for you. But like I say to everybody, make sure you're working with somebody too. I know you like to draw on there, and that's your style, that's okay. But if you really want to see improvements, instructor to golfer knowledge is a lot different than golfer to golfer knowledge. So just keep that in mind. Can't really guess where you're from, but it looks nice and warm outside. Let's just throw this out there. We're going to say Alabama. I don't know why I said that, but Alabama. Let me know. Okay, next up we have Tim. Let's see what's in Tim's notes. It says, hello, please see 2 swings. It's a 7-iron, 11 handicap, quite a bit. He practices quite a bit. Tend to miss both ways on the course, block or hook. All right, so both ways is usually a compensation move that happens. And that's usually why most of the tour pros don't hit both ways, because they don't have such a big compensation move as us amateurs. So let's just take a look here at this overall motion first. Slight bit of that forward press going on again. Okay, kind of raising up. A lot of arms. Okay, a lot of arms in motion, so I definitely see a lot of centeredness issues going on here. A lot of unnecessary turning. And a lot of hands and arms. So I can see why this is 2 misses. Anytime your swing's reliant on a lot of hand and arm motion, if your timing is really good and you hit a lot of golf balls, you can get away with it more and you play decent golf. But if you stay away from the golf ball for a couple of weeks and you go and hit some golf balls, it's almost like you have to relearn everything. So timing oriented swings, there's nothing wrong with them. They're very high maintenance, however. So we don't really want that. So we'll look at how we can kind of eliminate some of these motions based on your cause and effect. So we're going to do the same sort of thing as the last video, and we'll look at your cause and effect here. Make sure I get the right line. All right, so there's your, again, same sort of issue. So you're tilting a lot to get those hands ahead. That's where your kind of tilt is looking like, and we can tell that because your shoulders are kind of pointing a little bit too much tilt for a 7-iron. This is a lot of tilt for a 7-iron. Again, grip is slightly strong. That wide position, that's nice. You look very stable. Let's just take a look at this motion as you take that club back. So already kind of disconnected. You'd like to get that turn deeper, and by deeper, with this amount of tilt that you have, you definitely need to, the tilt this way, you definitely need to hold that tilt as you turn. So with this amount of tilt, you have to tilt a lot more going back down. And I don't see much tilt, I see more turn, and that effectively raises your body up higher. And now once it raises up higher, you really have to go back down and get it. And because your ball position now, based on your tilt, should be, probably 6 or 8 inches ahead of where it is now, you have a slide. You see that little slide there to try and get you to that ball position. So you're sliding to get your hands back to where they should be, and that slide is causing a lot of flip. And you can see your momentum is really taking you through the golf ball, and you have a lean going on the other way here. You can see your body's kind of moving forward in that momentum. So again, alignment, ball position, posture, setup. If these things are correct, the motion kind of evolves around by itself. If any one of these things is a little bit off, specifically ball position is can either be a huge help to your swing or a huge detriment to your swing. And I hope that I use that word correctly. But if that ball position is too far back or too far forward, it changes your alignment, it changes your tilting, it changes your hand release points, it changes a lot of things. So please don't miss on the basics, because the basics should not, put it this way, you shouldn't be messing with your swing unless you've covered your basics. So that's a note for everybody watching this. Don't mess with anything in your swing unless your basics are covered. Alignment's a huge issue, and ball position's a huge issue, because that ball placement affects your setup. And then secondly, don't mess with the hands and club face at impact, because they're just there to save whatever motions are incorrect. So there's a reason why your hands flip. I'm not going to sit there and tell you to hold your release or work on your hands without diagnosing what's causing that. So we cure the cause, and then you work on hand placements and release points once the main part of your body's taken care of. Let's look at the down the line, because that might help us out here. All right, Tim, before we start this, I'm just going to throw that. You're in Canada. I'm just going to take a guess. Okay, keep in mind that we do have that ball position issue being too far up. And you're trying to stay in your tilt, but it doesn't quite work with that amount of lean over. Do a really good job of getting in the slot though. So, that's the one hard thing, is because you got away with that one. I mean, you did a really good job of timing everything. You see the slot come in there. It's golf, the club's pointing right down to the golf ball. It stays in there. You tilt enough, you turn enough, you strike the golf ball enough. So this was one where you're like, wow, that felt really good. I think I got it. And then the next swing, it might be just a little fraction off and the club face position is open or shut down. And that really just comes down to your hand release and how good you are with hand-eye coordination. So let's just look at what's going on based on this view, what we can see here. So we draw the two plane lines for you. You have a nice wide area. Alignment looks a little bit off. I mean, your knees look like they're going right at the target. Shoulders are kind of struggling to with that ball position. You do have a lot of spacing here, which is nice. And let's put a couple more here. We're going to put head, kind of mixture box there, back brace line, and spine angle line to see what's going on. Taking that club back, not too bad. It's very armsy, however. I do like to see a little bit more connection. Connection means that club face is more connected with the hands. It's close, but I think it's just because you have to turn a little bit more. And at the top of your swing, you can see your shoulders have kind of flattened out based on your spine angle. And that spine angle was caused because of that ball position being too far forward. You have to really bend down to get that ball position. So with the flattened out posture, for this swing it worked. You can see you got that club down and plane. And you did a pretty good job here. You're driving into it, tiny bit of posture loss, trying your best to stay down in it. So you did a really good job here. I mean, there's not much posture loss. You can see you're trying to stay down. The momentum's kind of pulling you up and towards the target, as we saw in that other view. You kind of finish lead foot heavy. You strike it pretty well here. You get that release. So look how much the club moves from here to here. It's already exited. So that's a lot of that release. So we would like to see the hands moving a little bit more and then the club pop out. But here you can still kind of see your hand here and the club's already gone through. So you do a lot of that releasing. Anytime somebody has that quick hand motion, that usually means that something with the body is moving, causing that hands to release. And for you, it's leaning into your target, which means your ball position shifting back to where it was, and now your hands have to really engage and flick at the golf ball. So like I said, this causes two misses pretty quickly. Your plane's okay, but that club face could be open or closed relative to your plane, and that can give you all kinds of misses for your motion. But all in all, I mean, your core is doing a good job. Your hands are really relied upon a lot in this swing just because of that lateral motion that you have. That lateral motion is caused by the ball position. So again, check your basics, check your ball position, posture, check your alignment. Feel more athletic, but you do make it work. So choice is up to you. I would suggest, again, that you at least work with somebody every month or every other month just to check in with you, just to keep an eye on your alignments, your ball position, your posture, your overall motions, your connection, because I feel that you can hit the golf ball much better than you do with those misses. The goal of golf is not about the great shots. It's about how well you miss the ball, because those misses are what gives you your handicap. And keep in mind, the best in the world still miss it all over the place, but at least they kind of know where they're going to miss it, and they do a better job of recovering as well. And obviously, they're on TV for a reason, because they're pretty repetitive. But hopefully that helps. If you are confused in any way, just let me know in the comments, but good luck to you. Let's go. Who's up next? All right, Adam, you're up next. Now, Adam, here's my swing vids from the... That's it. Here's my swing vids. Cheers. Thank you. And since you said mate and cheers, let's go with Australia. Getting a lot of Aussies down there. All right, let's take a look at this swing, see what we have going on. Okay, you know what? Let me start with the face on. Okay, Adam, here's your front view. I like to start with this view now, just to make sure we get the ball position. That way, it helps with the down the line. Okay, a tiny bit of forward press going on here. You can see that hands are just kind of a little bit towards your lead shoulder. If we take a look at your spine angle, let's draw a line right down your spine angle. Based on that setup, your ball position should be 1 or 2 balls ahead of where they are. So again, might cause some issues in your swing. You might either drive left to help get that ball placement back to where it should be, moving your whole body left, or you might stay where it is and really have to hold and tilt under to strike that golf ball, or else you'll start to hit it pretty heavy. So let's take a look at which option you decide to do. Yeah, you can. Oh wow, look at that. So you definitely move left to get your hands back to where they should be. So now your hands are forward pressing. You can release and turn. Okay, so you see the option you do, and from here to here, look at how much your body moves left to make up for that. And as a result, you're still kind of losing a little bit of your angles as you come down to here. Your hands are still a little bit behind the game. Now it could look like that because your body's moved so far left that you've created the spacing in between your right thigh and your hands, and I'm imagining that's the case. But I can see some misses going both ways as well. Secondary we take a look at, I don't think there's a lot of turn, and we'll tell more from the down the line. But you can see there's more just of a, you can see there's not much turn with those hips. Shoulders doing a good job. I think if you stop your shoulder turn here, hands are nice and up in front of your chest, and you add a little bit more hip turn, that'll get your shoulder turn to increase. Let's say you can get your hip turn to increase 10 degrees. Your shoulder turn will increase 10 degrees. Your hands will be right about here, and that's good to go. But let's see how far you take that club back. So you try and get to that position, but you do it without the hips. So there's a little disconnection there. Let's look at the foot. Feet are doing okay. You're trying to stand up a little bit into posture. We'll see how much posture loss you have. Definitely looks a little bit posture lost here. Okay, but all in all, I mean, it's a pretty athletic motion. Again, the starting position might help you changing that ball position a little bit. And I hope you can see what I see here. Right about from here to here. You can really see those hands have to engage right here and do a lot of makeup work because of that lateral shift. But you have to laterally shift there to make sure you strike the golf ball on the way down. All right, let's take a look at the front. See if that'll close the case. What am I looking for? Close the whatever. All right, Adam, let's take a look here. Knowing that we do have that slightly forward press going on. Yeah, definitely some posture loss. You do have a lot of flexibility, which is really nice to see. I mean, your hips are hardly moving, and you're definitely increasing your turn. So you have a lot of X factor, which is great to see. Yep, and then there's a lot of flipping going on there too. Okay, so let's take a look here. We're going to draw the customary lines. Okay, you have a lot of room to work with, which is nice. Hands and arms hanging down nicely. I'm not sure what club this is, but depending on the club, that might be too much bend forward. It's just hard to tell based on the club. Let's draw some head box lines. Let's take a look. So there's an early disconnection here. See the club is kind of traveling lower. Club face is open to your spine here, which is all right. I mean, you're trying to release some pressure. Get to the top plane line pretty good. So overall you do a pretty good job. I just think that there's just too much with the hands and arms. And that comes from your big X factor you can generate. I think if you can just get your shoulders to stop here and then just turn your hips a little bit more to help get that motion up there, you'll be more connected, and then it'll be more like almost feel like a one piece pull down to the golf ball. Instead, when your arms keep going back, you get slightly disconnected, and then you have to reconnect some point in a third of the time. Plus you're moving left to get back to the original ball position that you should be in, and that will create a lot of this kind of slapping motion in the golf ball. And you start you start losing your posture. So as you come down into it, you see this triangle that you guys form at the top of your swing. The idea is to pull that triangle straight down as you start to turn, and we see if that happens or not. It goes straight down and starts to turn around. Okay, it's pretty good there. Go straight down. You can see already you've kind of lost that spine angle. Again, this could be a visual thing, because anytime you move away from the camera, it looks like you're losing posture, but I'm betting that you are starting to lose your posture, because you can see your spine angle starting to stand up already, and that'll cause you to flatten out your club face. So you see the club face goes from, slightly over your hands to within one frame later, we go slightly under your hands. Okay, and then it just keeps going under your hands. So that might help you get under by standing up a little bit, or it's just the result of you standing up and you've learned to kind of release your hands over. So we do see a lot of posture loss as you strike the golf ball. Your hips are moving a lot, your shoulders are slightly open, shoulders should be square, maybe even closed at impact. So we can see a lot of this excess turning that's going on that we talked about originally. Definitely big spine loss here. So there's your original one, there's your midway point, and then here is your new spine angle loss. So your spine angle is going up as you're trying to turn around a lot to keep that club on plane. So there's definitely some balance work issues. You release the club face comes out pretty nice as you finish the club face. It is pretty close to your spine angle. So there's your spine angle. I know there's a lot of lines, I'll draw this one big, and then there's your club face. So your club face is pretty perpendicular to that spine angle. So let me just delete some of these lines. It's starting to look like chicken scratch. But other than that, big thing today is all 3 videos just had some posture issues, alignment issues, and also ball position issues. So those 3 ones are the biggest things that can help your swing or hurt your swing. And if you don't pay attention to them, you start to develop a swing around them to compensate for that. And if you just keep your ball positions where they are and your posture where it is, you'll have to develop consistency issues, because now you have to evolve around insufficient starting point. So I'm a huge believer in everything has to be aligned correctly, ball position has to be set up correctly, posture has to be set up correctly, because this is a target-oriented sport that we have to develop a lot of kinetic energy from a static position. And in order to do that, you have to be in a position where your body can do that most accurately and consistently. But if your alignment is off, you have to reroute. If your ball position's off, you have to reroute, and that rerouting action typically causes compensation moves where the club face can be open or closed to your path, and that's where you have both misses. So anybody here that has severe both misses, it's okay to have the occasional, if you miss them right all the time and you occasionally miss it left, it's normal, it's okay. But if you do nothing but miss left and right and they're pretty severe, and you just can't play this miss, that's when you start limiting your handicap potential. Check your basics. It's most likely in your basics, and then from those basics you have to learn new motions around those new basics. So that's why we need golf coaches, instructors, just to help us out, guide us through that process. It's really hard to do by yourself. You can do it, but it'll probably take you years when it could have taken you months with somebody watching you. So do yourself a favor, invest in your game. Make sure you have somebody go along with you in the ride. I hope this helps everybody here. Again, if you know somebody that wishes to submit videos, go ahead and submit them. You don't have to follow Reddit. Just take anybody. That's just to help cause an effect for everybody that's watching. Maybe you can start looking at your swing. But other than that, hope you guys have a great day. And as always, fairways and greens.